After watching the Link Click Season 3 trailer, I was obsessed with breaking down every detail I could find. And after countless theories, screenshots, and scrolling through Reddit, I found a few things. But not only that, I think I may have figured out the significance behind this one scene right here. Let's get started. But wait, I thought Season 3 already came out. It's Brighton Arc, right? Yes and no. The best way to think about Brighton Arc is a Season 2.5. It's a prequel season that requires context from the previous seasons in order to fully understand. The Season 3 synopsis has revealed that they will be directly addressing the plotlines established in Brighton. In fact, it will most likely pick up from that final scene we saw in the Brighton Arc. This means the actual Season 3 has been confirmed for 24 episodes split into 2 parts. Part 1 will be released in October 2026, and Part 2 will be sometime in 2027. It's so far. It's okay. But now that we're all on the same page, let's check out this trailer, and if you want to see it for yourself, a link will be down below. Qiao Ling mentions that Captain Xiao told them that the Yindu police is looking for Vane. Looking at their clothes, we can conclude that this takes place at the end of Season 2, when Cheng Xiaoshi and Lu Guang are having a welcome home party. Further supporting that we will be directly picking off from the ending scene in Brighton. Some of you may notice that Lu Guang looks a bit different. That's because Link Click Season 3 will be handled by a different studio, CMC Media, who also worked on Brighton Arc. I'm not quite sure if Studio Land will ever be coming back, but it seems that for the near and distant future, CMC Media will be handling the Link Click franchise. CMC Media most notably worked on Heavenly Official's Blessing and music videos for the series of Arcane. They also have previous experience of working with the actual director, Li Haoling. While Studio Land will be missed, there really isn't much we can do about it, but just hope that it works out. And looking at their previous projects, I have optimistic hope that CMC Media will be able to handle a project like Link Click. In this scene right now, we of course have Xiaofei, but hold on. What's that behind you, Xiaofei? Or rather, who is that behind you? Jack. Xiaofei's old co-worker is seen in the background, probably dead. But how did this happen? Why is Xiaofei even there? Unless... From the trailer, we know that this location is filled with police and special agents from the Yindu police force, who were all murdered mysteriously. This reveals that Jack might have been an undercover cop, investigating Vane's agency. What if Xiaofei was following Jack because he suspected Jack was involved in Vane's quote-unquote death? Let's not forget, the last time Xiaofei saw Jack, Jack was angry that he got fired. And later that same day, Vane is supposedly dead. So, what if Xiaofei has been investigating and following Jack because he thinks he murdered Vane? He goes missing at the same time Jack does because Jack was given new orders and Xiaofei decided to follow him, which is how he ends up here, presumably shortly after Jack was murdered. We also see this new character. I have no idea who this is, but I suspect they're working with the Yindu police force to try and find Vane. Why? Well, Liu Xiao also already has 4 people presumably on his side. And we know from previous teasers that a new division will be introduced with Jay Li. So, if they will be bringing in new characters, it just makes sense that they would give Jay Li someone else a part of his crew to even things out. Oh yeah, this is Jay Li, by the way. For those of you who missed the earlier teasers, Jay Li is revealed to have abilities of some sort, and is part of a special division of the Yindu police force. And it seems he's going to be at odds with Captain Xiao in this situation. Also, do you guys think Lu Guang has met Jay Li before? I'd say no, but it's also like a 50-50 shot at this point, since he's already met Liu Xiao and Vane. But overall, this trailer seems pretty chill compared to the last one. Qiao Ling, my queen, no! Qiao Ling is seen under a bell crying, but I think I know exactly what's going on here. I saw some fan art on Reddit. Goddamn, you guys work fast. But looking at it suddenly made me realize that she is in a bell tower, which was alluded to in the opening song of the Brighton Arc. For those who don't know or haven't seen my other videos, Link Click has a track record of having lyrics in its songs foreshadow future reveals. Most notably would be Die Back in Time, which explains how the timeline works. Vortex, which is written by Lu Guang's perspective on trying to save Cheng Xiaoshi, and then we have The Eye, which coincidentally references a clock tower. Not to mention, we also got a lot of visuals of a clock tower in Brighton, including Vane standing right by one. The lyric reads, "But the clock tower bell only struck 9. By itself, in the context of the song, it doesn't really make much sense at all. The entire song is written from Lu Guang's perspective, talking about his several attempts to save Chang Xiaoshi. And then you get this line about a random clock tower bell, possibly the one in Yindu, though I personally think it's unlikely since Yindu is so far away. But there is a connection here, a strange coincidence at the very least. And she might be in a situation where she is held hostage and needs to be saved before time runs out. I suspect that she is kidnapped shortly after the welcome home party because of her outfit, as she's seen wearing the same clothes from that scene earlier. She also seems to be paralyzed by something. Now, I know, I'm throwing a lot of crazy thoughts out there, but what if this is a secondary ability from Liu Xiao? We know from interviews that Li Haoling, the creator, has said that Liu Xiao has multiple abilities, beyond just the one we saw in Brighton. So what if he has an ability that can overwhelm you enough to be in this state? I don't know how, I don't know the specifics, but I just feel like Liu Xiao could definitely be behind what we're seeing here. And he is using Qiao Ling as bait to lure in Lu Guang and Chang Xiaoshi. But end of the day, that's just a crazy theory. If it's right, that'd be pretty cool, but it is just a crazy theory. Listen, I am too far deep into the Link Click and 2B Hero X rabbit hole to be sane anymore, okay? But let's move on, cause we gotta discuss what the heck's going on with Chang Xiaoshi. We saw in Brighton that as of 2019, he had never worn this jacket before, as it was kept in storage up until he threw it out in the end credits. Which means he started wearing it regularly sometime between 2019 and 2021, which is when Season 1 takes place. So in theory, he will be jumping back in time to some point between those years. Or he just used the camera method to go back as himself and decide to put on the same jacket again, I guess. But Chang Xiaoshi is also bloodied in his mouth, just like Qiao Ling. I think they were both attacked in either a similar manner or by the same sort of ability that led them to have that same wound. We also see Liu Xiao and Vane fight, which led many to assume it's because they are on opposite sides. But by looking at the background, we can see several butlers around them. One of them is even holding a towel. It seems to be just a sparring match that would be alluding to something else in the future, but if anything, it just confirms that Vane will be hanging around Liu Xiao in the season, and that he's a pretty good fighter. Another random detail pointed out by this user on Reddit was that if you go frame by frame, you'll see these outlines during the sparring match. This has nothing to do with the actual anything, but I thought it was cool. By looking at what Lu Guang is saying, I believe that something similar happened in that previous timeline where Chang Xiaoshi died at the hands of Vane, which is what Lu Guang means by the timeline correcting itself. We know that in a previous timeline, Chang Xiaoshi dies on September 13th, 2021 at the earliest, though I personally believe the date to be September 13th, 2022. And yes, I am willing to bet money on that. Right here it says, perhaps there is still a chance, which implies that Lu Guang has a plan to somehow switch the direction of the timeline by doing something drastic. In the other Season 3 PV, we know that this is not Lu Guang's first rodeo going back in time, and he's likely done this several times before. But this will be the final attempt at trying to prevent Chang Xiaoshi from dying. We also know that in previous events, Qiao Ling and Captain Xiao have also ended up dead. So whatever happens this season, everyone is on the chopping block for potentially dying, not just Chang Xiaoshi. Guys, I'm not ready for the next season. There is no confirmation on whether or not this will be the series finale, but regardless, I'm sure Li Haoling has plenty of pain in store for us.